Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Today's video is inspired by this pillow. I like the texture of this pillow. I found from a thrift store. And this is the back side. It has a lining in the back. Today I'm just trying to do some stitches similar to this texture. And it's basically the plain stockinette stitch with sewing. So I knitted some stockinette stitch with worsted weight yarn on my LK150 knitting machine. And I have about 60 stitches and 70 rows. But this is only a sample, so it doesn't matter the exact size. And one interesting thing about this pillow is the first row. You can see they folded over for the first whole row. And that can hide the edge better. And it's the same on the other side. So the first thing, I sew up the edge, top and bottom, so it doesn't curve and it has a nice finish. Just use a regular sewing needle and thread. I sew up the top and bottom piece. And the next one, I just start to fold it evenly, like that. And it depends on how big is your fabric. It will be different number of folds. And then I just use pin. You can see it looks funny. I just pin it up so you can see the pattern, see if I like it or not. And I start with the middle one and just pinch it together and offset the other one. So the second row, the pin will be in the middle of the first row, 2 pins. That's how you create a pattern, the easy way. I also found some nicer pins, so I will use this pin instead of this. But either way, it will work. And then I just need to sew up the top here, the area of the pins, those points where the pin is. I can use regular sewing needle or thinner yarn that's sturdy. And then that's how you create a texture. And if you don't like the design, you can always change around, make it bigger or smaller, or more rows or less rows. You can create different size of the texture. Now I switch the pin to a prettier one and a smaller, so it's easier to see. And you can find those pins in the sewing supplies. Those pins are very useful when you want to sew neat fabric, because you don't want to punch holes with the regular sewing pins for the neat fabric. And you can see it squished the fabric a lot. My original fabric is at least double the height, and now it's only maybe less than half. So if you want to make a pillow, make sure your original fabric is at least double the size. It compresses a lot of fabric. So for this kind of texture, you really need a lot of fabric. So the only thing left to do is to sew up each point with a sewing needle and thread or thinner yarn. My favorite is this brand, the Gutermann. I don't know how to pronounce it. The polyester thread is okay, or you can use a thin yarn if it's sturdy enough. So I'm starting from the bottom side. I sew up this one with needle and thread. And one tip is to start from the bottom and end in the bottom, so you can hide the end of the thread in the back side of the knitting. And just go over it several times, maybe 2 or 3 times, so make sure it's secure. And go to the back side and tie a knot in the back side. And you probably want to make a loop to tie the knot. so it doesn't come off. And now we'll start doing the center one. Tie the knots in the end. Starting from the back side. I go back to the back side so I can create a loop. Go through the end loop. Like that. So it's secure, and then you go back to the front. And go back to the back side to finish up. I will have one extra stitch and make a loop. Tie a knot and then more knots. It's another one, and we just keep going for all of them. So I did the half of it. As you can see, this method is not exact. If you want to be exact for each diamond shape, then you can calculate the stitches and the columns and chart it out on the paper. And you can use a disappearing ink pen to mark on fabric or mark on the knitting. And it should disappear after a couple hours or after washing it with water. So that's the final one. You can see it's very stretchy. You can open up a little bit more and the shape will be different. That's the back side. And I can compare with the pillow. Thank you for watching today, and see you next week.